Hello and welcome to episode 4 of my Secrets of the Airedale and Wharfedale Lines mini-series. Already in this series, we've looked at the Airedale Line from Leeds to Bradford Forster Square and up to Skipton, and we've also begun to look at the Wharfedale Line from Leeds up towards Baildon and Ilkley. However, in my last episode, we only got as far as Guiseley Station. So, in this video, we're starting at Guiseley Station and making our way up the Wharfedale Line up to Ilkley to finish this series off. If you haven't seen the previous 3 episodes already, they'll be linked in the description below, so you can catch up on the secrets of the Airedale and Wharfedale lines thus far. Anyway, without further ado, let's join me at Guiseley Station as I look at the 3 in-between stations on the Wharfedale line between Guiseley and Ilkley to wrap up this series. Hello and welcome to the first proper station on the Wharfedale line here at Guiseley. This is the first station off of Airedale Junction, which is the junction from the line which continues on to Shipley, and of Esholt Junction, which is the junction from the line to Baildon, from the Bradford, Shipley through Baildon to Ilkley line. So this is the first station for the line all the way up to Ilkley. We'll now be on the same line all the way up to Ilkley. First thing to note here is that there's like some abandoned platforms on either end of the station. There's this beautiful old, what was probably a station warehouse, which I've put my camera on the window ledge of, and the station itself feels pretty quaint. Opened in 1865 by the Midland Railway. The station was somewhat rebuilt, however, in 2002 after the line was electrified in 1995. New waiting rooms were constructed and the station had a general refurbishment and was repainted and seems quite nice, and yeah, it definitely feels like pretty quaint. It's not the nicest station I've been to. You're surrounded by industrial buildings, but yeah, it's definitely not bad. Station sees 2 trains an hour to Leeds, 1 train an hour to Bradford, and 3 trains an hour up to Ilkley, although annoyingly they're not at every 20-minute frequency, because that'd be quite good. I wouldn't mind going up to every station having a 20-minute wait. It's like an every 10-minute and then every 40-minute service, so like at the next station I think I've got like a 40-minute wait, which is nice. Station is one of the 2 closest stations to Leeds Bradford Airport and the only one with a direct rail service to Bradford. Has a bus service which runs hourly to the airport. I think it's like only 15 or 20 minutes by bus. Guiseley itself has a population of 25,000 and grew in the Industrial Revolution when the cotton-based woolen industry arose in the area. It's not necessarily there's not too much to talk about here, if I'm being brutally honest with you. It's sort of just a station in a relatively nice part of the country, I would say. This area, West Yorkshire, is quite nice, relatively affluent, commuter town into Leeds and Bradford. And yeah, it's definitely not a bad station, but there's just not a lot to talk about, especially as it's not had any major, closures, reopenings or resightings or anything. It's sort of been the same since it opened. So maybe that is a good cue to head to the next station down the line, which is Menston. Hello, welcome to Menston Station. I've only got about 5-10 minutes here because that's how the timetable works. It's like a train to Ilkley every 10 minutes and a train every 30 minutes or something. Anyway, gotta be quick. Menston Station, it's quite nice. I don't know if that's because of the weather. There's some dark clouds over there, so let's hope they don't come over here. Station here opened in 1873 in April, 8 years after the original line was opened through here. Station was originally a junction for the half-a-mile Roy's Hospital Railway. This station had a branch line for its own hospital, which is crazy to me. Half a mile, it served the hospital of Roy's Hospital, closed in 1951. The hospital today is a new build housing estate, and very little remains of the former railway line. The station here was also the former junction of the line to Otley. Otley's a town just northeast of here, or northwest. It's nearby basically, and the line ran from here from 1865 to 1965. It was a triangle junction, so the next station down the line of Burley in Wharfedale was also the junction station for the line to Otley. The old A660 is where the old line into Ilkley formerly ran. The station was redeveloped here in 2000, including reopening of the station building and adding a bus stop and cycle rack outside the station. As you can see behind me, the accessible footbridge here was opened in March 2026. I believe it's like a week old at the time of filming, or maybe even like a few days old. It's kind of crazy how close I was to this footbridge not being open. If I came like 2 weeks ago, this footbridge wouldn't have been open yet. But yeah, new accessible footbridge open here at Menston. Loads of work done. Where I'm standing now is a new entrance, a new pedestrian entrance to the station, new footpaths. There's platform extensions as well for 6 carriage trains. The station's gone through quite a lot of redevelopment in the last 6 months to a year. Like Guiseley, 3 trains an hour, 3 into Ilkley, 2 to Leeds, 1 to Bradford. Menston today is, well, if you look on Google Earth, it's like all houses. Like only people live here. There's like no shops basically. There's like 1 Sainsbury's and that's literally it. And it's a Sainsbury's local, not even a normal one. There's like 1 pub. It's got 5,000 people. It's not a small place, but yeah, not much goes on in Menston. And 27% of the people here are like over the age of 65. So it's quite an old population as well. So yeah, not much goes on at Menston, and not a lot goes on either at the next station, which is Burley in Wharfedale, where the line gets its name from. So let's go there. Because the train's due in like 5 minutes, so see you at Burley. Right, hello, welcome to Burley in Wharfedale, the penultimate station in today's video, and where the line gets its name from. Burley in Wharfedale. The Wharfedale line comes from the River Wharf, I think, and this is the dale of it. Station here opened in 1865, has been unstaffed since 1968, but didn't close, so it's been open for its entire history. Is another junction, like I said, for the line off to Ilkley. The station has recently had its platforms extended, like a lot of the stations on this line, to accommodate 6 carriage trains, which will hopefully be running sometime soon. The Skipton line currently gets 6 carriage class 331, so maybe this line can get them as well. But there's not a lot to say about Burley and Wharfedale, though it's a very pretty station. It's got an original footbridge here, which looks nice. Well, I don't know if it's original or if it's been rebuilt during the electrification, but I like it. It's a nice footbridge. And yeah, the station itself, it's pretty good. Here's a train. We're a little bit wonky now, and we're in a completely different position where I was a minute ago, but it's fine. So yeah, Burley and Wharfedale. The original station building survives just here. It's had an extension onto it. But yeah, if I'm being honest, not a lot to say. It's a very quaint station. I'm using that word a lot. The weather's lovely today, if I'm being honest with you. I can't not say that this is like the dream weather. It's probably not coat weather, but I've got one on anyway. Burley itself has over 7,000 people living in it. Burley means an open land in a wood which was fortified, with obviously the Wharfedale bit coming from the River Wharf. The village grew with nearby cotton mills, powered by the river itself, and a quarter of the village is over 65 again, a lot of elderly people living in this region. But yeah, there's not huge amounts to say about Burley and Wharfedale. There was like a news story yesterday at the time of recording about like a primary school which had to get planning permission for its like amphitheatre, which it built in the ground out of old soil and stuff. There you go, that's what happens in Burley and Wharfedale, all the high-end stuff. It's worth noting that here at Burley and Wharfedale, it's an advertised point for the Yorkshire Way. There's a lot of walking routes from the station across West Yorkshire, and they're advertised here at the station. Burley and Wharfedale. Burley, not a lot in Wharfedale. I'm sorry. Let's go to the next station, which is the penultimate station in today's video of Rhydding. Right, welcome to the actual penultimate station in this video of Rhydding, which sounds more Welsh than it does Yorkshirean. Is Yorkshirean a word? It is now. Now, Rhydding opened in July of 1866 as part of the line to Ilkley. 11 months after the railway was first opened. It was originally to be called Wheatley, which actually was the name of the village around it, but the Rhydding Hydrotherapy Hotel persuaded to change the name. I think they also invested money into the station's construction. Now, the Rhydding Hydrotherapy Centre was, well, a hydrotherapy centre which worked on the belief that cold water could cure bad substances in the blood. I think they like wrapped wet linen around your skin and that would like heal you or something, I don't know. But this hydrotherapy centre in Rhydding was the earliest and probably the latest version of this type of therapy. I think there were like only 3 or 4 in the whole of the UK, and they were quite the big attraction. Now, the hydrotherapy centre closed, I think it was just before or just after World War I, being turned into a golf course and hotel, which then was taken over by the government during World War II and was then never reopened after the war and was knocked down in 1955. Back to the station itself, though, originally opened as a temporary small wooden station with a booking office, waiting room and a retiring room for ladies as temporary accommodation before going on to the Rhydding Hydrotherapy. However, in May 1871, the North Eastern Railway Board commanded a more permanent station be constructed, with Rhydding Hydrotherapy selling off the wooden structures in the station for £240 in 1885 to the Midland Railway, I believe. Goods services commenced in 1888. A new signal box was constructed in 1901, which closed in 1965, with this being the same time that goods services ceased to the station. Staff were withdrawn, but the station remained open, despite the station buildings being demolished in the 1970s. It does still have a golf course, although this was just south of where the original hydrotherapy centre was. Also has a field hockey club, which play in the Northern Hockey League, so that's like the only relevant thing I could say about Rhydding, really. And yeah, there's not a lot here. The station is quite basic. It hasn't received platform extensions. The footbridge isn't disabled access friendly. It's got waiting shelters. It's electrified. It's a railway station, trains stop here. That's about the best way I can describe it. So without further ado, let's go to the last station in today's video on the Wharfedale Line, which is of course Ilkley. Well, hello and welcome to Ilkley Station, the terminus of the Wharfedale Line. Now, Ilkley Station opened in August of 1865 as the western terminus of the line from Otley before the routes to Leeds through Guiseley and Headingley opened. The line via Shipley towards Bradford opened in 1876, providing a direct rail service to Bradford for the first time. A line to Skipton opened via Bolton Abbey in 1888, and the station officially became a junction station from this point. Around the same time, a middle carriage siding was added just here, hence why there's this gap here currently. So there used to be a place to store trains, and the station used to have up to 4 platforms. 2 of those were through platforms. These 3 platforms were for the line to Skipton. You can still very clearly see where they were today. They're where the car park for M&S is, and they used to run through over Botley Road, I believe it is, through where the M&S is, through like a bowling ground and a car park, and then through some houses and then out towards Skipton. You can still very faintly make out where the former line ran through Ilkley Station. But those platforms are of course not in use anymore. The line to Otley closed in 1965 and the line to Skipton closed in 1966, meaning Ilkley reverted to just a terminus for the lines to Leeds and Bradford. Platforms 3 and 4 remained in use for a little bit after the lines to Otley and Skipton were closed. Platform 3 was used more than Platform 4 because you could only access Platform 4 via a subway. Platform 3 was sometimes used during peak services, and Platform 4 was more regularly used as a carriage sidings during the nights to store trains. But in 1983, both those platforms closed when the subway to Platform 4 fell into disrepair, so they decided to close both the platforms, sell off the land, and it's now a supermarket. There's also a Tesco just east of the station. That's where the goods yard was, so the station had a much bigger footprint and also had a goods yard. In the late 1980s, the platforms were shortened when some of the western end of the station under the canopy was turned into the M&S, so you can sort of see where the M&S is, where the platforms would have gone on further, but they were shortened to turn it into the supermarket. Whilst electrification of the line in 1995 saw the original footbridge, you can see there's a footbridge behind me, the original footbridge was demolished because of it, and a replica replacement was constructed which was high enough to go over the electric wires. Ilkley was, fun fact, the last station lit by gas anywhere on the British rail network, with gas power ceasing in May 1988, undergoing a major refurbishment of the station in 2011 at the cost of £625,000, including a new ticket office, waiting room, shelters, CCTV installation, customer information points, and just a general repaint of the station. So yeah, parts of the station and M&S, also part of it is a pub, and another part of it is a Pizza Express, which is a bit weird. The town itself is a very, very pretty spa town, probably most known for Ilkley Moor, which is a 402-metre moorland, which is actually the unofficial Yorkshire anthem. It's where the Yorkshire anthem, Ilkley Moor Without a Hat, comes from. I don't know if anybody sings the Yorkshire anthem. I don't, I'm not from Yorkshire though. Maybe if you're from Yorkshire, you can tell me if you've ever heard of the Ilkley Yorkshire anthem or not. Ilkley has a lot of cool things. It's got a nice river running through it with a suspension bridge. It's got a Lido as well. It's the closest major town to Lippersley Pike, Asquith Moor and Thurcross Reservoir, and has a bus to Skipton as well, which vaguely follows where the old railway ran. It's about half an hour on the bus, or it's just a 15-minute drive. So it's not too far away from Skipton, the other northwesterly termini of, well, the Airedale Line. And that is it. I've now covered every station on the Airedale and Wharfedale lines, the lines out of Leeds towards Bradford, Forster Square, Skipton and Ilkley. I hope you have enjoyed this mini-series looking into these stations. I hope you've learned something new. If you have, do like, subscribe, check out my channel membership. You can join for this at 99p a month and help me to make these videos. I've quite liked going on those trains, and I'll miss them when I don't have to go on them anymore. But yeah, if you're ever in the area, do have a ride on these 333s, and yeah, they're good. I like them. And they're also very weird. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. And a huge thanks to my YouTube and Patreon members, including first class members Aaron Barry, Crispin McKee, JBNEL, Phil Smith and Tom Kennedy. My business known members Alan Wyatt, Andrew Bowen, Anthony Harris, Anthony James Moore, ARK, BK Gary, Connor Gregg, Clive's Travelling Trains, Craig Mitchell 43, Daniel Burford, Dave CDF, Henry Joy, Jay Teco, Galia Lev, Martin Thomas, NJTE, Ollie D, OVTUG Alex, Pete Denton, Real, Sean Hemmings, SZWL, Train Life GB, Tom Kennedy, Will Ho and Zach Renfrey, as well as my standard premium and standard class members. You can get your name on this list from as little as £2.99 a month, or support me from as little as 99p a month. All your support means the world to me and helps make videos like this one possible, so I really do appreciate all of your incredible support. Thank you and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.